Trapped in the Night. A story of survival. I was never one to believe in bad luck. Coincidences? Sure. A series of unfortunate events? Maybe. But real, gut-wrenching, life-altering bad luck? Number? That was until one Tuesday night, when my life changed forever. It was the end of my freshman year in college, and I had just submitted my final essay. The weight of deadlines had finally lifted, leaving me free to bask in the relief of a semester well fought. It was late, close to 8 p.m., and I found myself walking home under the dim glow of the streetlights. The rain had stopped earlier, leaving the pavement slick and shimmering under the last traces of a beautiful sunset. That's when I saw it. A red Toyota Camry, barely a few feet behind me, crawling along the street at an unsettling pace. At first, I told myself it was nothing. Someone looking for parking. Maybe a lost driver. Still, my instincts whispered something different, sending an uneasy chill up my spine. I kept walking, my apartment complex just a few blocks away. Then, the car sped up. A window rolled down, and a middle-aged man with thinning hair and an unsettling grin leaned out. "Hey, need a ride?" I forced a polite smile. "No, thanks. I'm almost home." He didn't take no for an answer. "You sure? It's getting late." His voice was too smooth, too rehearsed. I quickened my pace, hoping he'd get the message, but instead, the car pulled up right next to me. My heart pounded as a second man, stockier and wearing a dark hoodie, emerged from the passenger seat. Then everything happened at once. A sharp vibration tore through my side, sending me crashing to the ground. My mind blanked in confusion before the pain hit a searing, unbearable sensation that made my vision blur. I had been shot. Before I could react, hands grabbed me, rough and forceful, yanking me off the pavement. A rag covered my mouth, muffling my scream. The last thing I saw before darkness swallowed me whole was the streetlight flickering above, the world slipping further and further away. I woke up in a nightmare. The air was damp, thick with the scent of gasoline and something metallic. My hands were tied behind my back, my ankles bound so tightly that the rope bit into my skin. The car was moving fast, the road beneath me humming in an unsteady rhythm. I was in the trunk. Panic surged through me like a tidal wave. I tried to scream, but my mouth was taped shut. My breathing grew ragged, desperate, and I felt my own warm blood seeping into my clothes. The pain was real. This was real. I twisted my wrists, searching for any slack in the knots. Nothing. The car kept going, miles passing in silence, except for the occasional murmur of the two men talking up front. Then, a miracle. The car slowed down. The telltale sound of tires rolling over gravel. A voice tone, authoritative, broke through the night. A police officer. I had one chance, one moment to make a sound, to let them know I was there. But before I could, the car door creaked open, and I heard the sharp snap of a gun being cocked. My blood ran cold. "Evening, officer," the driver said, his voice smooth, controlled, too controlled. "License and registration." Silence. Then, bang. Gunshots. 4, maybe 5. The sound of bodies hitting the pavement. A scream. Tires screeching. The car lurched forward, my head slamming against the trunk's metal frame. I choked on a sob, the realization setting in. The officer was down. Then, something else, a second voice. Another officer. More shots rang out. A fight. A struggle. Then, the trunk swung open. A blinding beam of light pierced through the darkness, momentarily blinding me. A figure stood over me, gun drawn, badge glinting in the light. "Stay still," he ordered. I nodded, too weak to move. Hands grabbed me gentler this time, cutting through the restraints, pulling me from the vehicle. I was free. I woke up in the hospital 2 days later. The news was everywhere. An officer was dead. One of my kidnappers had been shot at the scene. The other had fled. To this day, I don't know if he's alive or rotting away in some prison. And honestly, I don't want to know. All I know is that if those officers hadn't stopped that car, I wouldn't be here to tell this story. And I will never, ever walk home alone at night again.